Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Max AC channel. For this month's theme, since August still remains the most popular birth month, we will be doing another round of August Appetizers, where we'll be making 4 more different types of appetizers for you to make for any statistically likely party that you will be having this month. For this episode, we will be making some bruschetta. For this recipe, you will need 4 to 6 fresh tomatoes. You can use whatever you have on hand, but I'll be using some Roma tomatoes. You will also need a third cup or so of fresh basil leaves, 1 loaf of Tuscan bread, or any other rustic Italian loaf, or you can use baguette as well, 2 to 4 tablespoons or so of extra virgin olive oil, 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar, 2 garlic cloves or so, half a pound of optional mozzarella cheese, and some salt and pepper. This should be good enough for about 8 to 10 bruschetta, so just as needed. First, preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, and while we wait, we'll prepare our ingredients. Give your tomatoes a wash, and then dice them up into bite-sized pieces. You can use a food processor for this if you plan on making a lot of topping, but I prefer the hand-cut chunks of tomatoes with my bruschetta, so I'll be cutting these by hand. Toss these into a colander or a strainer to strain out any of the excess liquid. This will help to concentrate the flavors and will keep the bread from getting too soggy, but you can skip this step if you wish. Then place these into a mixing bowl. Next, for your basil, place the leaves in a stack and then roll them into a tube. Then, using a sharp knife, thinly slice the basil into thin ribbons, also known as chiffonade, and then transfer to the tomato bowl. You can also set some of the basil aside for garnishing later. Then for your bread, you'll want to slice it into 1/2 inch to 1 inch slices, depending on how wide your bread is. My bread is pretty big, so I'll go on a thinner side, but if you plan on using a thin bread, like a baguette, I recommend going thicker for better topping support, but it's entirely up to your preferences. Your oven should be done preheating by now, so grab your bread and place it onto a baking sheet and toast them in the oven for 4 to 5 minutes, or until they turn lightly golden. You may brush these with some olive oil before placing them into the oven if you wish, but it's not necessary. While we wait, we'll continue making the tomato basil topping, so to that bowl, add in your olive oil and your balsamic vinegar, and give this a mix, and let this marinate while we wait for the bread. When your bread is ready, take it out of the oven and quickly cut a garlic clove in half, and rub the cut side of the garlic on the toasted side of each slice, and then lay a piece of mozzarella cheese on top if you wish. Then place the bread back into the oven to melt the cheese, which should only take about a minute or so. And so as to not waste the garlic cloves, give the leftover pieces a quick mince and mix it into the tomato basil bowl. Once your cheese has melted, take your bread out of the oven and place it onto a serving plate. You may spoon the tomato basil topping on right now if you're going to eat it right away, but you can also serve the bread and topping separately to ensure that the bread doesn't get too soggy. But once you do put the tomatoes on, make sure to sprinkle it with some salt and pepper if you wish, and with that, your bruschetta is ready to eat. Last year we made a lot of fried appetizers, which, although they are very tasty, they aren't the greatest in terms of their nutritional value. So I thought we could spend some of this month highlighting some of my favorite appetizers for when I want a lighter option. So for our first recipe for this month, I thought we could start with bruschetta, a simple antipasto or Italian appetizer. It's a very light and refreshing first course, and it's a great way to use your summer tomatoes as well as any other vegetables you've been growing in your garden, or that you've just picked up from the grocery store. Bruschetta actually refers to the toasted bread part of the dish, with its etymology coming from the Italian verb bruscare, which means to roast over coals. So, if you plan on bringing this dish to a summer barbecue, I highly recommend toasting your bread using the grill to make your dish even more authentic. But as long as you toast your bread somehow, you can still technically call it bruschetta even if you swap out the traditional tomato and basil topping with something else. Speaking of which, other traditional toppings include adding mozzarella, as I've done, as well as adding anchovies and capers for more of a Sicilian style. And you can even go an entirely different direction and turn your bruschetta into a dessert by topping your toasted bread with strawberries, honey, and ricotta. So, no matter your preferences, you can paint your toasted bread canvas with any flavors ranging from the savory to the sweet to make your bruschetta the way you like. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video. In the comments below, let me know how it went if you decided to make it, and let me know if there's anything you want me to make next. Like the video, share with your friends and family, and subscribe to this channel for more episodes of the Max AC channel. And remember, if you want to stay cool in the kitchen, turn your AC to the max and watch the Max AC channel. Yum! I love bruschetta! Bruschetta!